Hello everybody, welcome back to another video with Lim Reviews. Now guess what, we are back with a brand new smartphone from POCO. Well, this time around it's also a budget smartphone and it comes in the form of the POCO M5s. So POCO is also launching the M5, which I do not have with me today. What I do have is the M5s, which is supposed to be a budget phone that for people who like to watch a lot of movies. So the M5 does not come with an AMOLED panel, but this M5s does come with an AMOLED panel. So we're going to take a look at this device, find out what's it all about, and maybe help you out in that purchase decision. Well, here in Malaysia, we do not actually have the pricing yet, but based on the pricing of the previous M3, M4, I'm guessing that this device here might come between 500 to 600 ringgit, maybe even a little bit more than 600 ringgit, considering things are just getting more expensive these days. But yeah, let's find out everything that you might need to know about the POCO M5s. Well, first things first, I do have the device right here. In terms of the design, I found that it actually looked very similar to my Xiaomi 12, which I actually have lying around. The design language, the camera design at the back, the fact that it also curves on the sides at the back here as well, is very similar to the Xiaomi 12. So think of this as sort of like a budget version, a super budget version of the Mi 12. Apart from that, we do have this very nice chrome sides all around. It's a fairly lightweight device. I think it's slightly more than 170 grams. Can't remember the exact number. It's built quite nicely as well, and it does come with IP53 rating. Now bear in mind that IP53 doesn't mean that you can submerge the phone into water. This basically means it will protect the device from basic dust and splashes of water here and there. So IP53, at least we have some sort of protection here. Apart from that, you do have a side-mounted fingerprint scanner if you want to talk about that. At the bottom, we do have this Type-C port. We have dual speakers, which actually gets quite loud. And again, like I said, POCO is saying that this device is a budget device for those who like to watch movies, so you should get some pretty good sounding speakers at the bottom. Apart from that, we also still have our headphone jack, which is also great. We don't see headphone jacks very often these days, so this is what you get on the POCO M4s. Now moving on, let's talk a little bit about the processing power. What are you actually getting here? Well, you do get the Helio G95, which is good enough for some basic gaming. Again, this is a budget device, so Helio G95 is actually quite alright. You do not have 5G in here. This is a strictly 4G supported phone, and yes, it does support dual SIM. That means you can put in 2 SIM cards, but both will run on 4G. In terms of the RAM and storage configurations, I know that the smallest capacity is 4GB RAM paired with 64GB of internal memory. My device here is a 6/128GB version, which I think is great. Apart from that, the card slot here actually supports a micro SD. So if you are looking to expand your memory, you can do that with the POCO M5s, and apparently it will support up to 1TB of memory card. So yeah, if you can afford that kind of memory card, you can actually expand this pretty huge. Just in terms of the performance, well, using it on a daily, you can't really say much about how fast they basically launch. This is a budget phone, so it will run like a budget phone. I noticed that there was some stuttering in between the apps here and there when I was using it, so definitely not the best experience there. But again, if we are looking at this 500 to 600 ringgit, I think it is, again, a very basic phone there. Another thing I should also mention is in terms of the display at the front. I did mention that we do have an AMOLED panel here, which is actually quite nice. You have great contrast levels, nice looking colors and all that. Of course, it's an AMOLED panel, so it will do that. Unfortunately, we do not have any high refresh rate, so it's only sitting at 60Hz refresh rate. Now looking back at 60Hz, I can't really accept this for me personally, because I'm used to at least 90 or 120, where it's just so much smoother. Right now I can see all those drop in frame rates here and there, so I think it's just not for me. But if you are already using like a 60Hz display, I think you won't really find this a problem. If you are again looking to buy a budget phone, I guess you would also be able to accept this 60Hz display. But otherwise, a fairly good looking AMOLED panel on the POCO M5s. Alright, so moving on to the camera department, we do have a quad camera sensor at the back here. This is being led by a 64 megapixel main sensor, an 8 megapixel ultra wide, a 2 megapixel macro, and a 2 megapixel depth sensor. Well, in terms of image quality, I took a couple of sample shots here and I'm going to share them with you guys. Expect some really budget phone kind of image quality, although I must say that for this price point, let's say it's 500 to 600 ringgit, I think it's actually quite alright. Don't expect, like really strong cameras, but this is good enough and really what we would expect to see on a budget phone. At the front, it's worth mentioning that we have a 13 megapixel selfie camera, so in case you want to take those selfies, you have a 13 megapixel selfie camera. in terms of the battery, we do get a 5000 mAh battery. It's very slim. Can't really imagine how they fit a 5000 mAh battery in here. It supports 33 watt fast charge, so you should be able to charge your device up fairly quickly. Another two things that is worth mentioning here is, again, the dual speakers is fairly loud. It's actually quite loud here on the POCO M5s, so if you like that kind of thing, you should check this out. The second thing here is actually about those haptics. Now we have a Z-axis linear haptic motor in here, which actually makes the vibrations a bit shorter and nice. However, I noticed that the vibrations were a little bit jarring. What I mean by that is it does get very strong, I would say, in terms of those haptics. So I'm going to show you a very quick clip here so you roughly have an idea on how the haptics actually work on the POCO M5s. Alright guys, I think that's pretty much what I have to share with you about this brand new budget phone from POCO. Again, I will be updating the pricing down in the description box as well as the pinned comment. If you have any questions about this device, let me know what you need to know. And so far, I think again, for this device, a budget phone, I think it's like a refresh of their previous budget phones. The M3 I think was launched more than a year ago. It was launched last year in May. The M4 Pro was last month, and yeah, I guess we are at M5 now. Alright guys, thank you for watching till the end. Don't forget to drop a like and sub to the channel if you want to support content like this. And I definitely look forward to seeing you guys in the next one. Stay safe everybody. Bye.